Today we'll discuss the topic the Economic and Social Council. To introduce the topic, the UN Economic, Social and Council, also known as ECOSOC, was established under the United Nations Charter as a principal organ to coordinate economic, social and related works of the 14 UN specialized agencies, 10 functional commissions and 5 regional commissions. Comparatively speaking, the Council receives reports from 11 UN funds and programs. ECOSOC play the role of a central forum for discussing international human rights with a special focus on economic and social issues. ECOSOC formulates policy recommendations which are supposed to address the member states and UN system. The composition, power, function of the Economic and Social Council are enshrined in the Chapter 10 of the United Nations Organization Charter. The Council's 54 member states are elected by the General Assembly for 3-year terms. Seats on the Council are allocated on the zonal and geographical basis, with 14 allocated to African states, 11 to Asian states, 6 to Eastern European states, 10 to Latin American and Caribbean states, and 13 to Western European and other states. ECOSOC, being a founding UN charter body established in 1946, provides an important platform for debating human rights, peace and development. At the core of ECOSOC's philosophical and practical existence, there is a time-tested history of ECOSOC's commitment to uphold human rights. For example, in the drafting of the International Bill of Rights, ECOSOC had delivered significant role. Following a letter from the chairman of the Commission on Human Rights to the president of ECOSOC, dated 27 March 1947, the drafting committee was enlarged to include representatives of Australia, Chile, France, the Soviet Union and the United Kingdom, in addition to the representatives of China, France, Lebanon and the United States. This document contains 48 articles outlining individual human rights, which went on to become an international guideline for international human rights discourses. In short, the main objective of ECOSOC are as follows. 1. Conceptualizing an international approach on human rights. 2. Addressing the continuing and emerging challenges in our pursuit of poverty eradication. Number 3. Ensuring the health of our planet. And number 4. Engaging all stakeholders to achieve an effective result. We will discuss about ECOSOC in the context of issues and procedures. The world's economic, social and environmental challenges continue to be ECOSOC's main concern even today. According to some estimates, ECOSOC has brought responsibility for some 70% of the human and financial resources of the entire UN system. ECOSOC holds regular meetings throughout the year with prominent academicians, business sector representatives and registered non-governmental organizations. It is astonishing to note that 3,200 plus non-governmental organizations are registered with ECOSOC. The legitimacy and power of ECOSOC are enshrined in the UN Charter, articles starting from 61 to 72. According to Article 61, Clause 1, ECOSOC cell consists of 54 members of the United Nations elected by the General Assembly. Under the provisions of the Article 62 Clause 1, the Economic and Social Council, also known as ECOSOC, may make or initiate studies and reports with respect to international economic, social, cultural, educational, health and related matters, and may make recommendations with respect to any such matters to the General Assembly, to the members of the United Nations, and to the specialized agencies concerned. The Article 62 Clause 2 is significant for it empowers ECOSOC to make recommendations for the purpose of promoting respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms for all. Another interesting function of ECOSOC is related to the provisions of Article 63 Clause 2, which empowers it to coordinate the activities of the specialized agencies through consultation with and recommendation to such agencies and through recommendations to the General Assembly and to the members of the United Nations. It may make arrangements with the members of the United Nations and with the specialized agencies to obtain reports on steps to be taken to give effect to its own recommendations and to recommendations on matters falling within its competence by the General Assembly. The activities of ECOSOC in this regard can communicate its observations on these reports to the General Assembly. It is true that ECOSOC works under the guidance of General Assembly and Security Council as given in the Article 66 Clause 1 to 3. However, each member of ECOSOC enjoys equal representative power as they are entitled to have only one vote. Decisions of ECOSOC shall be made by a majority of the members present and voting. As per the Article 68, ECOSOC shall set up commissions in economic and social fields and for the promotion of human rights and such other commissions as may be required for the performance of its functions. According to Article 68, ECOSOC is to set up commissions in economic and social fields and for the promotion of human rights. This responsibility of ECOSOC is rooted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, which laid the foundation for international consensus on protecting human rights. In addition, ECOSOC has the power to make subsidiary bodies. The subsidiary bodies work on different aspects of social and even political issues all over the world. It has commissions, committees, fact-finding committees, monitoring and expert groups, and specialized committees such as statistical commissions, Commission on Population and Development, Commission for Social Development, Commission on the Status of Women, Commission on Narcotics and Drugs, Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, Commission on Science and Technology for Development, Commission on Sustainable Development, and United Nations Forum on Forest. Another significant contribution of ECOSOC come from its regional commissions, particularly that works at the zonal level while taking up distinctive issues. The regional commissions include Economic Commission for Africa, also known as ECA, Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, also known as ESCAP, Economic Commission for Europe, also known as ECE, Economic Commission for Latin America and Caribbean, also known as ECLAC, and Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, also known as ESCWA. It is equally interesting to note that ECOSOC also coordinates various activities including Committee for Program and Coordination, Committee on Non-Governmental Organizations, and Committee on Negotiations with Intergovernmental Agencies. Some of the ECOSOC's important ad hoc bodies created under the Article 71 are the following. Number 1, ad hoc open-ended working group on informatics. Number 2, expert bodies composed of governmental experts. Number 3, committee of experts on the transport of dangerous goods and on the globally harmonized system of classification and labeling of chemicals. Number 4, intergovernmental working group of experts on international standards of accounting and reporting, etc. Development through human rights is something which is very important to discuss in the context of ECOSOC. As a part of ECOSOC's intervention on world's social and economic issues, it has specialized initiatives such as the Annual Ministerial Review, also known as AMR, Development Cooperation Forum, DCF, and United Nations Public-Private Alliance for Rural Development. The objective of AMR is to assess progress in achieving the internationally agreed development goals such as IADGs arising out of the major conferences and summits. It consists of annual thematic review and national voluntary presentations on progress and challenges towards achieving IADGs, including those contained in their national Millennium Development Goal based development strategies. In the 2003 ECOSOC's Ministerial Declaration, the Council stressed the importance of alliance among all stakeholders to achieve the aims of rural development. The mission of the UN Public-Private Alliance for Rural Development is to identify, highlight and promote replication of successful business policies and practices that are both profitable and promote social and economic advancement of poor people in rural areas of the world. Now we discuss about ECOSOC and its initiatives on post-conflict recovery. The experience of the recent years has also led the United Nations to focus on peace-building efforts to reduce a country's risk of lapsing into conflict by strengthening national capacities for conflict management and to lay the foundation for sustainable peace and development. Ensuring lasting peace in war-torn societies is among the most difficult challenges for global peace and human security. Achieving peace requires sustained international support for national efforts across the broadest range of activities such as monitoring ceasefires, demobilizing and reintegrating combatants, assisting the return of refugees and displaced persons, helping to organize and monitor elections of new government, supporting justice and security sector reforms, enhancing human rights protections, and fostering reconciliation after past atrocities. It can be argued that the United Nations has been at the core of expanding global peace-building attempts, from the verification of peace agreements in Southern Africa, Central America and Cambodia in 1990s to subsequent efforts to consolidate peace and strengthen states in the Balkans, East Timor and West Africa to contemporary operations in Afghanistan, Haiti and Sudan. Carrying its objective forward, in 2005, the World Summit approved the creation of a new peace-building commission under the initiative of the ECOSOC. Let us also now discuss about peace building from a human rights perspective. Protection of human rights cannot be fully achieved if there are conflicts in the world. Upholding such a concern, ECOSOC has significantly conceptualized the need for resolving conflicts from the perspective of human rights protection. It is evident that the development and peace has been perceived to be interrelated in preventing deterioration of human rights and human security all over the world. In order to meet this concern of UN, ECOSOC established ad hoc advisory groups to help define long-term programs for supporting countries emerging from conflicts, particularly in Haiti. The Council has also encouraged the role of United Nations and the international community in supporting protection of human rights in South Sudan. In its resolution 2011/43, the Council invites in particular the governing of the United Nations Fund and programs to pay particular attention to the situation in South Sudan and to the coordination of their activities in the country. In this context, ECOSOC requested the Secretary General to report to the Council at its substantive session of 2012 on how the United Nations Development System is implemented, integrated, coherent and coordinated support to South Sudan, consistent with national priorities of UN member states. In its decision 2012/250, the Council took note of the report of the Secretary General on implementation of integrated, coherent and coordinated support to South Sudan and requested that another report on the subject be submitted for Council's consideration at its substantive session of 2013. Underscoring the significance of ECOSOC, His Excellency Martin Sasdik, President of ECOSOC, on 14 January 2014 stated, I quote, "There are promising prospects for ECOSOC and the UN as a whole. The potential for breaking new ground is there, but only if we set our eyes on higher goals of achieving higher standards of living for all." I unquote. In lieu of conclusion, it can be said that ECOSOC's journey to be of an utmost body with international relevance has been a matter of challenge. The global community has consented to such a fundamental challenge. To resolve the weakness question of ECOSOC, on 20th September 2013, the General Assembly adopted Resolution 68/1 named Review of the Implementation of General Assembly Resolution 61/16 on the strengthening of the ECOSOC. The Resolution 68/1 recognizes the lead role of ECOSOC in identifying emerging challenges and promoting reflection, debate and innovative thinking on development, as well as in achieving a balanced integration of the three dimensions of sustainable development. The adoption of Resolution 68/1 constitutes the most far-reaching reform of ECOSOC since 1991. Among other provisions, it mandates the Council to provide substantive leadership to the system through adoption of an annual theme which include the following three perspectives. Number one, activate all the segments of the Council throughout the year. Number two, work program cycle to begin in July. And three, to monitor and promote the balanced integration of the three dimensions of sustainable development in the work of the ECOSOC system. Today, the importance and relevance of ECOSOC is increasing in the wake of social upheavals, underdevelopment, conflicts, and violation of human rights all over the world.